Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining in on this sad reason to have this, but we're starting up these superintendent huddles similar to what we did with the tornado impacted districts in Western Kentucky. Some differences we know between that situation and this one. We have a much larger geographic area that is impacted. And fortunately, in the Western Kentucky case, a lot of our school buildings were not directly impacted or devastated. We have several school buildings we know in Eastern Kentucky that have been impacted. So there are some differences I know that we'll need to process through. But we did ask Joe Henderson and Lenny Whalen to be on with us for a few minutes to start things off, just to relay to you some of their experiences in the short, intermediate, and long term, some things that they learn in their own experiences. I saw Joe is on here. I know that he has another meeting to get to, but Lenny will be able to be with us for a more extended period of time. I also wanted to be sure and mention that we are recording and live streaming this for any superintendents that are not able to be here. We do have a packed agenda for us to move through today. It's going to involve a lot of us listening to the communities and superintendents in those areas that are directly impacted to try and start learning what your needs are. Those will be emergent, I know, as we go through this. So what we know today and the problems that you're managing today may not be the problems that you're dealing with tomorrow or next week or next month, but we'll continue to partner and work through those with you. We have tried to anticipate in thinking about the experiences that we had in the recent Western Kentucky tornado. What did we learn from that? Can we bring forward? But also we recognize that this is a fundamentally different natural disaster that we'll need to process through. I think we'd like to start. Let me just begin by running through this agenda. If you could put that back up again quickly, Tony, just so everyone knows where we're headed. Thank you. So we'd like to start with just check-ins from our impacted districts. So if you're in a district that has had flood damage, we'll ask you to unmute, come on camera, and just tell us a little bit about the impact in your community, what's happened with your staff, your families, and with your school buildings, any other information. So we're just trying to gather that information. Then we've got Lenny on, if we get to it in time. We've got Joe on that can talk about their experiences. We have several sort of KDE updates to run through with you. Don't feel like you need to keep track of this. We know that you're handling things as they come. We'll follow up with emails on all this, and you'll get to it when you get to it. None of these things are as urgent as the things that you need to be doing in your communities right now, but we'll talk about funding, info, flexibility, school operations, flexibility. We know that several buildings will not be able for or operable for school use, and what flexibility you might have with that. Equipment rental contracts. We've got requests for photos, and a lot of you have been great about sending those in already. We learned some lessons about posting needs on websites, so we'll cover that. Food and nutrition questions, and then we have some support coming from Serve Kentucky that we'll brief you on really quickly. We also have someone from Kentucky Emergency Management. We did reach out to the U.S. Department of Education to have someone from them on. I don't think that's confirmed or it won't happen, but we do have someone from Emergency Management that's on with us. That can talk about some of the supports that we may have from the federal government. Let's get that line muted, wherever that's coming from. And yes, we'll continue to keep following up with.
So you're gonna be by today?
I'm going to find that line and mute it myself. There we go. I'm going to, we'll continue to follow up with any federal resources that will become available later downstream and make sure that you're aware of those. Let's first start with just affected districts. If you could just come on, identify yourself, unmute, and just tell us about some of the impacts in your communities.
Dr. Glass, this is Jonathan Jett in Perry County. Can you hear me?
I can. Go right ahead, John.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you and your staff. I can't name the people that have reached out to me and other people in my district, just checking on us and making sure that we're okay. So I appreciate that. I know that everybody has seen, and I'll start with the school stuff, okay? I know the national news continue to show Buckhorn School and the devastation there. And it is, I mean, it's, there's many No windows, no doors. There's debris throughout the building, trees, parts of houses, parts of decks from surrounding properties. But that was not our worst school structurally. Robinson Elementary, actually, an exterior wall and probably 20% of the roof collapsed. So that school is not going to be operational. I mean, I'm not a structural engineer, but I have one on site today that's going to Buckhorn tomorrow. And I think that's going to be a rebuild completely. And having said that, I've got to figure out where we're going to house those kids this year. And there's some property, Home Place Clinic. They have several buildings there, but it's not enough. It's not enough to house all the students. So I do have 2 schools that are within 20 minutes. Neither of those schools could house all of them. But if I split those students between the 2 schools, they could. The long-term problem with that is, closing schools permanently is a board's decision. So if I have to move those students to 2 schools and they're going to be there for 2 years, they're never going back. They're going to establish friendships and relationships. So if the board decides to close it, to rebuild that school, then I think I'm going to have a staffing nightmare, because I'm not going to have students that go back to that school.
All right.
So that's the issue there. I think Buckhorn we're going to be able to rebuild it, repair it. But that, again, that's going to be a long-term process. So I'm going to probably need to try to partner with the Buckhorn State Lodge, that facility. There's a Presbyterian church right across the road. There's a community center. We used to have the Buckhorn Children's Center there, which it closed, and they had dorms, but now it's kind of a step down drug rehab facility for women. But I think there's some buildings there that we could possibly utilize for those students if we use the different ones. I've also thought about bringing the high school students to Perry Central. That's a long drive, especially for the ones that live in the Saul community. And I'm afraid if I do that, I'm going to lose students to other districts, Breathitt County, Owsley County, and Phillips already reached out to me and willing to help. But again, if those students go to another district for a semester or a year, the likelihood of them returning is slim, because they're going to build new relationships, new friendships. So those are the obstacles that we're facing right now with our schools. The community, many parts of our community are just completely devastated. I mean, homes are just gone. And, we're delivering meals, we're delivering water, we're doing everything that we can, but people are just, honestly, some people won't leave what's left of their home. So they're camping out behind their homes, and we're the only source of food that they have. We had one school that served as a shelter, and we only had a handful of people there. So the Red Cross opened one at Hazard. So we shifted our shelter people to the Red Cross one at Roy G. And we have turned West Perry Elementary into an area where we have one shower trailer, and we have another one on the way, and then a laundry trailer. So that's where all that stuff's going to take place at West Perry Elementary. East Perry is where we're distributing everything. And we've had people come. We've probably had 7 tractor trailers full of water. We've had everything from car seats, cleaning supplies, shovels, rakes, buckets, and just an enormous amount of outreach. But, we're not going to be able to even consider starting school for at least 2 weeks from our original start date, which was the 11th, in the rest of our buildings, because we have thousands of people out of power. We have thousands of people that don't have running water. So just that in and of itself is going to take time before we can even start the conversation with the community about where kids are going to go to school, where they're going to be housed. I know I spoke with you early on about the Buckhorn parking lot, and until we got that clear, we couldn't even access the school building. Well, the transportation cabinet came in and cleared that last night. So it was great timing because we have the adjuster and the structural engineer coming to that facility tomorrow. But there's still a lot of unknowns. Our top priority right now is just making sure we're meeting the immediate needs of our kids and our families and communities. And, you know, there's been a lot of overlap. I mean, we've had, you know, we've had people in our shelter from Breathitt County, and then they ended up going back to Wolfe County because 15 was closed. You know, Sandra Combs opened the Red Cross shelter at Hazard, and we sent people there. So, and I've had tons of superintendents that have reached out to me, and if I haven't gotten back to you, I apologize. But, you know, I appreciate the effort that everybody in surrounding counties are making. It's going to be an extremely long process. We haven't seen anything like this in my lifetime here. And the unfortunate part is the communities that were hit were some of our most impoverished communities. They lived in homes that were, you know, trailers that were 50 years old, homes that were 80 or 100 years old. They've never had a mortgage payment. They've never had homeowners insurance. So if they do rebuild, FEMA's probably not going to cover all of that. So it's going to be an added expense to those people indefinitely that they're not used to having. And then they take their government assistance to buy food, medicine, what clothing they can for their families, and for a car that may or may not make it to the store. So the long-term effects of this on my community is going to be heartbreaking for years to come. And, you know, we're going to need a lot of support for a long time. And I'm really concerned that we may lose people from our communities who have lost everything because there's not a lot of options. And the governor was here yesterday, and he talked about bringing in homes and temporary homes that were in Western Kentucky. But I think people, if they leave here, they're never coming back. And we've had some people say that, you know, their trailer was washed away. They were forced to had a car. They got in the car and drove to Lexington. The family called their friends and said, "We won't be back. You know, we're just going to start over." And that's, you know, that's heartbreaking for people. But, you know, again, I appreciate everybody reaching out and the thoughts and prayers. And I mean, we're going to get through it. It's going to be a long process, but I've got great people that are working every day, 15 hours a day to make sure that our community is taken care of. And we're going to continue to do that. And when that slows down and we can transition to more of a central location outside of the schools, then we'll start making plans for where students are going to go.
Thanks for that update, John. And the Perry County is really fortunate to have a leader like you in place. You know, I spent some great years in living in Perry County, so I'm familiar with these communities that are affected, and it is heartbreaking. Let's shift, and any other superintendents from affected communities that are on also tell us what's happening in your communities.
Commissioner, this is Denise Shantz. I'm the superintendent in Letcher County. We're neighbors to Perry County. Essentially, let me echo Jonathan's word. I appreciate all the support from our fellow superintendents across the state. 6 of my buildings have been affected. 3 of my schools had 8 feet of water in them. And we won't know about the structures until we get some cleanup done. 4th school has destruction in the gym. My central office was flooded and lost. We're working right now to try kind of retrieve and set up shop in our maintenance facility. Unfortunately, we lost 2 staff members. Our community as a whole was devastated. The positive thing is that the schools that are intact have become community centers Our high school is being a donation site and distributing donations. And the staff and students in our county have pulled together, and they have been working tirelessly to get the people what they need. It will take an extended period of time to even get roads passable, to be able to get buses out. I've thought about ways to get our schools that are going to be cleaned and restored, alternate ways to get those kids in schools, and we're thinking about doing like a morning and afternoon shift and sending them to schools that aren't affected. Whatever it takes, we want to be able to get back in school so that they can have some normalcy.
Thank you, Denise. I know that this is heartbreaking to see the community that you've invested so much in and that you care so deeply about devastated like this, and the loss of staff is unimaginable. So we're all hurting with you. I think that those ideas that you have around AM, PM schedules are something that other districts are going to have to consider as well. It's not something that I experienced directly, but in the district where I was superintendent before coming to Kentucky, after Columbine, they moved all of the Columbine students to another high school and used that very same model because the building couldn't be operated for almost a year. So that may be something that we have to think about, is how we use the existing space that we have, in addition to some of the ideas that John had around how you use just really every available space in the community to help accommodate some of the students that you have. Thank you, Denise. We'll keep coming along your side as we go through this. Other superintendents that are on from affected communities.
Yes, Commissioner, this is Brent Hoover, Knott County. You and I spoke earlier. I'd like to reiterate everything that Jonathan and Denise said. As I told you, we have 3 schools that were impacted: our high school, Hyndman Elementary, and our ATC. We didn't lose any staff members. We did lose 1 student, which was the oldest of 4 siblings. She would have been a 2nd grade student at Emmeline Elementary. Our entire county is devastated, every community. We do have 4 schools that are receiving and handing out supplies, water, cleaning products. We've had an overwhelming amount of support from not only the state of Kentucky, but throughout the United States. I had a group come in from Miami, Florida last night with a vast amount of resources. It's just amazing what is pouring into Knott County. We have people cooking at 4 schools today. So it's just amazing. Again, we just, as I informed you earlier, we just need some guidance on how to go forward with finances. We do have ServPro on site. They started yesterday cleaning those facilities. They're making some progress. I don't think we have any structural issues. There was a structural engineer came Saturday, and I accompanied him, and we looked at those schools, and he is pretty certain we have no structural damage. He'll come back when those facilities are fully cleaned. But as far as the timeline as to when we'll go back, I don't know, because once we get them cleaned, we'll know what the next challenge is, how much equipment that we've lost and what we'll have to do before we can go back. And again, Hyndman Elementary was our largest elementary school, and Knott County Central was our high school. We do have another high school on the other side of the county, but it does not serve many students. It's a small, we don't own the facility, but it's Cordia School, which is a K-12 school. So I'll end there, Commissioner. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those for you.
Thank you, Brent. And as I mentioned before, those years living in Perry County, visited Knott County frequently. So know your community, and heartbroken to hear about the loss. And the loss of the student is something I think some other districts are experiencing too. And it's just, you never get used to having to bury one of your students. So it's something that you don't ever get over. Other superintendents that may be on.
Philip Watts, Breathitt County Schools. Don't know what to say. Just hang in there, everyone. We'll get through this together. I'd like to give Wolf County a shout out. They've picked up some stuff for us for shelter purposes, and that's been a blessing. I guess, unfortunately, we went through this in 2020, so this round is way worse. Nothing like last time. We put the pieces back together really quickly last time and kept on chugging. So We've had some of the hardest hit areas I've ever seen. I think up around, I think me and Brett probably, and Jonathan share the Troublesome Creek area. Never seen any kind of rain like that in my life. It's just devastating. The homes are gone now. That's the biggest concern right now. I mean, they're just completely washed away. I'm pretty sure we have some casualties. It's really, really, really sad. I just, I've got staff members sleeping in cars, camping out, like Jonathan was saying, and just refusing to leave. I guess the things we need out in the communities, I'm not having any luck with getting portable showers and portable places to set up for people to clean their clothes and wash their clothes. Seems like we're really struggling with that. The food seems to be rebounding. I don't even know where to start. From facilities, I sound a little better. You guys have made me feel a little better. Unfortunately, we've probably lost our vocational school, I would imagine. We've had it flooded several times, and we'd actually just tore down one of the old buildings. So kind of concerned about that. Our bus garage was destroyed. Our maintenance shop was destroyed, and several classrooms in our Coliseum. And we're already, kind of like Brent, we're already in the process of trying to clean those up. Seems like Marie Roberts Caney's intact. Water surrounded it, but I think we'll be okay once the power and water's restored. Highland Turner's okay. Sebastian, it's in that evacuation zone down there around the dam and the Highway 15 closures, but that's our largest elementary. It's okay. Our new construction is okay, and then our first and second floor of the high school is okay. So I think we can probably rebound a little bit quicker than Fletcher and Knott and Perry. And then I just want to, Highland Turner, we do have several empty classrooms, Jonathan, and as you're thinking and planning, if those teachers come with those kids to that building and they build those relationships, hopefully when you rebuild those teachers, then those kids could go back if needed, and you may be able to use your Buckhorn area. But I'm here, and the same thing with the high school, anything we can do for those kids on that end of the county. And then we do have a little room up at extra room up at Marie Roberts too, due to declining population. So just want you guys to know I'm here for you any way we can do. If we need to, anything we can do. We're going to push school back in 1 week increments because we want to get back as quickly as possible. So we just board just met and delayed it at least 1 week, and we'll just reevaluate each day to see where we get. I got to give a shout out to my bus drivers. They were well rehearsed. Last go around, I had like 15 bus drivers that was helping me. This go around, I could only find 3 in town. Nobody could get to me, so it was much different. And then we helped with water rescues. And like I say, I got to give a shout out to Wolf County. We end up, and then Lee's College, that was a temporary shelter. But what happened to us was all the places that we used for a shelter, they got closed down. Like the high school got covered with water and couldn't get in the parking lot. So we learned last time we couldn't use the high school for an evacuation site and the shelter because it got closed off. And then Sebastian, we couldn't use Sebastian for a shelter because we got evacuated. And then Marie Roberts was covered with water, and Highland Turner had no waterway out in the middle of nowhere. So Wolf County stepped up, and we were able. He's been housed in our hospital and nursing home down there. So shout out to them. And just interesting times. All the communications went down, and the CATS network was up. So I had EMS and all kinds of different agencies here in their building using our network and our landline. So I was very thankful for that. Communication was a challenge there the first couple of days, but we could talk and talk and talk, but the devastation is like none other. I've visited with bus drivers that don't have a car now. They're sitting on the couch in mud, and they have no money, and they have nowhere to go. And it's not just one. And then there's, people was trapped on top of water tanks, on top of roofs. I don't know how many air rescues, things like that. So this was much, much different. And we have so many areas hit really hard. It's very, very humbling. Any support, any advice, just overwhelmed. But I appreciate everyone for running out. I don't know if you guys are getting a little overwhelmed. This is my second go with this, not to this scale, but seem like supplies and inventories is a little bit different this go around. So just keep us in mind for supplies and things that we need.
Thank you, Philip, and great review of the just community impacts of this. And I think it's something that we'll also hear from others. What are the impacts on your staffing, your maintenance and facility support, your transport, your fleet? How was that damaged? So that's another layer of this. Other superintendents that are on.
Commissioner Glass, this is Anna Shepherd in Floyd County. And, you know, like everyone else, I mean, we appreciate all the help. We've got a great team here, both community and school teams. We didn't have any schools flooded, or we didn't lose any of our buses, any of our fleet. We've got the communities of 3 of our schools, you know, that have been affected the most, with homes lost, you know, completely gone, and vehicles lost. And we have some staff displaced, you know, have lost vehicles and lost their homes, and they're staying in some of our shelters. We have not certain yet if about 200 people, how many of those exactly is all Floyd County folks that are housed at Jenny Wiley State Park and also at our Martin Community Center. We too will need to push back school, because I can't imagine from driving those areas. I mean, people have just lost everything in those areas. So we will be looking to push back school, and then may need to try to start with, as we can, with the schools we can, and keep out, you know, the 3 schools that was most affected: South Floyd Elementary, Duff Allen Central Elementary, and Floyd Central High School, as far as the community in the area. We can take students. I mean, you know, Mr. Hoover, I mean, anybody in the area that needs us to take on students, you know, we'll work with you and be happy to do that, or anything we can help with. You know, we've got a lot of surplus items that we'll get a list of, that we'll send later as other districts are ready to receive things from us that we can help out with, like desk and so forth. I know some of my staff has already reached out to some of the schools, and I know you're not ready for that yet, like Buckhorn or Jonathan to you, or whatever, but we'll get our list together of things that we have that we certainly can deliver when folks are ready for that. And Philip, I'll reach out to you. I may be able to help. I'll see what I can do with the units. You were talking about the shower or the washing station units, and to let those folks know that's near Floyd, we do have 3 units that arrived yesterday with washers and dryers that's open to everyone. You know, we've had Johnson and Pikeville Independent and Lawrence County that brought us a truckload of detergent to get these up and running. And these are not just for Floyd. We just happen to have power and water and drains, and we can hook them up. And we've all got them, you know, 2 of them certainly is right off of Route 80 at Floyd Central High School in Dace. And we'll help, and we'll take anybody that needs to come and bring. But we do have 3 of those set up, and our community center has 1 shower unit. And we're showering at 2 of our schools. Like if you're neighboring to us, especially, you know, I mean, your people are welcome to come to us, but we've got a high school, Floyd Central and South Floyd Elementary, that showers are open 9 to 4 at one school and 12 to 5 or 12 to 8 at the other one. So showering, if we can help you feed people. We've got 9 schools open with lunchrooms, and we've been the last few days serving 4,600 meals. And I know we've delivered some to Knott County, I think, and some other places, but if we can fix the meals and help deliver them out to you, and as long as we've got staff and people, we are willing to do that. We'll try to bring to you and help you all as much as we can. I mean, let us know. Like I said, just a phenomenal team. I've been doing a lot of coordination and collaboration through Sam Howard and Trace Creek and Miss Marisa, I think, in Greenup County, you know, sharing needs as I see them posted from anybody's county as well. But that's where we are. So you all reach out to me. I mean, we're willing, and my team here, we're willing to help anybody that we can. Just let us know what we can help you all do, whether it's student-wise or services.
I just wish they could get some of those showers and laundry services out to like that Buckhorn community Jonathan's talking about, and out to, it's a war zone at the mouth of 476 where Marie Roberts and Riverside is, and that's not Breathitt and Prairie. That creek comes together up there. Those peoples they won't leave their homes, and there's just no place for them to clean up yet. So I'm hoping that it grows.
I know they do have to have, they've got generators as far as the power, but if water is on, they do have to have water and a drain, to hook those into. So if you all can let me know, I know it was the sheriff here in Prestonsburg that assisted with getting the ones that we have. I think he's reached out to get something for Brent over in Knott County, and I will reach out to him. If you all could send me if those locations have water, and then they, I don't know if they hooked into the 220s or not, because I think they do have a generator with them, but I'll be happy to help and see what he can help us do to get them where they need to go. Even the ones that the sheriff requested that we have, we could certainly, if they can manage to get some, move one or two of those and let us just keep one. I mean, whatever we can do like that, we'll be happy to try to do that.
I'm in the process of getting one to Buckhorn, the Buckhorn community, so that will help them a lot. The ones that we have actually don't have to be set up on a drain. They have a holding tank, like a portable restroom facility, and they have to be pumped like every 2 days or something. So the ones we had are not required to have a drain system. So, but yeah, and I'll continue to reach out to the people that I'm working with, Philip, and see if we can get one somewhere on 476. It's I don't know where exactly we would put it because of the devastation down through there. I mean, it's just
Put it at Marie Roberts Caney. It's the hub up there by Go Time if you can get one.
okay.
There's no running water there though. It may be months before we get running water there. And I just got wind that they're setting one up at Walmart in Jackson, so that's a good sign.
Yeah. Well, we have some tanks too, but the water is not appropriate for drinking, but it may be for showers if nothing else. So.
And I know also in the Wayland community here in Floyd, that they secured a water filtration station that was, I think, is supposed to be delivered there maybe today. So if you all will let me know where and what, whether it's showers, washer and dryer units, or a water filtration system, I'll work on my end, to try to help get what you all need as well and where you would like to have it at.
Thank you very much, Anna. The offer of materials and supports, I think there's going to be a lot of that necessary sharing of items while we may be waiting on replacement of new items. What could we use for desk or other school supplies? And you raised another issue, which is where we're going to have roads impassable and how we're going to navigate transportation and supports through that. That'll be another challenge that we'll have in many communities. Any other superintendents on from affected communities?
This is Brett Wilson, Leslie County. The northern part of our county had some damage, not as extensive as our neighbors have had, but we still have homes and a lot of our families without water and electricity. So we're providing support for those families. We are serving as a hub over the weekend. The National Guard contacted us, and our school here in Hyde and Mountain View Elementary is going to serve as a site for the National Guard to come in and help support our surrounding counties as well. I think we're expecting up to 200 service members today or tomorrow arriving. And it's good to know that they'll be able to, assist our surrounding neighbors with whatever their needs are. We also have a shelter set up, another elementary school that is accepting families for food, water, showers, laundry. We've had folks from here, our own counties coming, as well as Perry County, using those facilities. So I've talked to each one of our superintendents around us, and you guys just reach out to me. Whatever else we need to do, we'll try to do that.
Thank you, Brett. And that may be a similar situation other communities may experience, is that you've got rescue and support that's being set up in your schools, and then how does that interact when that need continues, and then you're also trying to get school started in some form. So that'll be something else that all of these communities will have to navigate. Other superintendents that are on.
Commissioner Glass, Wayne Sizemore, Jackson Independent Schools. No way to start a new superintendency than through a natural disaster. So learning as we go, but I can't say enough of the community and the surrounding counties, the outpouring that they've done for us. Brent, we just had a huge donation of food from Leslie County, a couple of your teachers and staff. That's getting ready to go out into the community. So we really appreciate that. But school is intact, but our families are not. We have 36 families that we know of that have been displaced, and also 7 staff members that lost everything. So just keep us in your prayers. We're doing everything we can to support, and we'll rise together. We will get through this.
Thanks, Wayne. And I know that you're among a bunch of really early tenure superintendents getting started with this. So it is a baptism by fire, but y'all are doing amazing. So we're really proud of the way that all of you have responded to this. Others that are on.
Dr. Glass, can I interrupt Anna Shepherd again and give out a number for the laundry too, so that everybody has it, the laundry units? It was
Go right ahead.
Jeff's Laundry Company. And again, reach out to me and I'll try to help as well, but I want y'all to have this. And the number was 352-551-7941. That was 352-551-7941.
Thank you, Anna. Great. We just want to make sure we touch base with any other affected communities.
Damian Johnson, Jenkins Independent. First, Denise, my heart goes out to you. I'm so sorry about the loss of your staff members. You know, we're here for you, anything that we can do. Our facilities wise, we were not impacted as bad as some. Our elementary school at Birdine had about 3 feet of water against the building, but not, and water throughout. But our main damage is exterior and playground fencing and pavement. It's all recoverable, but our community is hit very hard. We have several staff members that have lost everything, several students that have lost everything. We will certainly have to push back the start of school because of impassable roads. We live right in the heart of the mountains, so a lot of our travel is haulers that are in terrible conditions. We are also serving as a National Guard site, should have over 100 here today. We've opened up our facilities for food and showers, and we've had a great outpouring of support for donations. Russell Thompson, who was my mentor, just sent over a busload of supplies from Pineville Independent, so very appreciative of him. To me, it's, and Commissioner, I know you know about this because of all the people that's just been through it in Western Kentucky, but it's the long haul. It's the people that are that have lost everything that are going to have needs that outweigh the immediate impact. And you know, we've got stuff for people that have nowhere to put it. They have no home to take it to. You know, so we gotta take care of these individuals for a while.
Thank you, Damian. It's a great reminder. It's likely going to be inch by inch, and I think you'll hear Lenny and Joe talk some about that. I want to make sure that I know Lenny and Joe have some time pressures on them. So other superintendents that are on from affected communities, hang on. We're going to circle back to you and make sure that we hear from you and hear what's going on, hear what your needs are. But I want to bring up Joe, while we've got him on from Mayfield, and Lenny from Dawson Springs. Of course, their 2 communities recently went through this. Their buildings, thankfully, were largely spared. There was some damage, but the communities itself were just devastated. So Lenny and Joe, if y'all are able to just come on and tell some of these folks what they can expect in the short term, intermediate, and then now longer term.
Commissioner, this is Joe Henderson. I'd like to go ahead and jump in front of Lenny here if I can, because I've got another commitment, but I obviously want to be here to help in any way that we can. And my heart goes out to all you guys. Obviously, a little bit different situation, but I mean, I feel for you. I know it's tough, but one thing about it is you have tight knit communities and everybody working together is a big key going forward. And, we're not through it yet, but it's going to be a slow process, but one day at a time. And it's very emotional. I understand. I've been there and I've done that. But a few things I'll mention real quickly. Some of you, I know Breathitt said that they experienced something similar a few years ago, but some of the things we kind of learned in going into this situation that I probably wasn't prepared for is, you're going to start receiving tons of donations and to the point where we didn't know what we were going to do with everything that we had. I mean, it's tough to turn people away when they're driving 7-8 hours with a trailer full of stuff to be delivered, and you don't want to turn those people away. So, I know a lot of you are in different situations. It's more widespread, where ours is more of a direct impact area. But, what would you do with all those donations, and where are you going to put them when you get to the point where your schools are full or that you can use or what have you, is something that obviously to think about. And obviously, too, we had to start, it's hard to tell people when they call and say, what do you need? And somebody mentioned, this is going to be a long haul, the financial, the money, the gift cards and things of that sort, the donations, monetary donations are going to be big for you going down the road, as we learned as well. And I'll make note on the donation account, because we've never received the amount of donations that we've received, monetary donations, and how that's going to be set up. And, we basically contacted some other districts that have been in some tragic situations that had hundreds of thousands of dollars of donations coming in, and how you manage that money. So I just caution you to be careful with that, to have an organization and a plan, and be glad to show or talk to anyone about what we did. We had a committee that's responsible for that money. Obviously, I did not put myself on that committee. We kind of leaned on our family resource centers and had some folks on that, because obviously, you're going to have to give away thousands of dollars, and that's going to have to be accounted for. From a FEMA perspective, just make sure you document everything. Keep all your receipts and all your expenses. And one thing that, as these supplies are coming in, do the best you can. You kind of, have them sign something where they're coming from. You can't itemize each individual thing brought into your buildings. You can't do that. But another big thing is the amount of hours that your people are working, volunteer hours and things of that sort. So going down the line, you'll need all that information. And I even recommended hiring a third party to maintain your FEMA stuff. It's very encumbersome in handling all the paperwork. I'm not promoting this group, but we hired a group called the Integrity Group. They're from down in Florida. They dealt with a lot of hurricane stuff, but they work on a commission based off the amount of money that they recover through. It's an administrative commission they work off of, that they might, based on the amount of money that they recoup for your districts through FEMA or what have you. I won't continue to go on. I do want you to know, I'll give you my personal cell phone number. It's 270-705-8767. I normally don't answer calls that I don't recognize, but I will for the next few weeks because of you guys. And so, and I know Lenny's already put his over in the chat room, but please reach out. I don't want to spend a lot of your time, but I'll leave you with just saying that you're going to need help from the state level and Commissioner Glass and Governor Beshear, and they were very impactful, and the legislators. I don't want to leave them out. They were very impactful in helping us, and I feel like the same will happen for you guys. It's going to be a lot of need financially and that type thing moving forward, but we're a long ways from Eastern Kentucky, but we are Kentuckians, and I think everybody's going to step up to the plate, do what we can to help you guys. The last thing I'll say, and I'll be quiet, let Lenny talk. One thing we learned is I heard someone mention that you're working 15 hours a day. I think it might have been Superintendent Jett, but you got to take care of yourself. It's one thing you can run yourself in the ground. It's just our nature as educators that we take care of our people. You guys are in a small community, much like we are, and they're going to turn to you for help. That's one thing we learned, that the schools is where they reach out to, especially in a small community. but you got to take care of yourself mentally and physically, because it is going to be a long haul. And you can, I talked about, when we went through it, I didn't sleep for 3 or 4 days. I mean, that's the honest truth, because I felt like I just had to be out there doing something continuously to help our people. But it takes a toll on you, and they're going to need you as a leader in that community for a long time. So I just recommend that, I know it's hard, but try to do everything you can to take care of yourself and your families, because they're going to need you. And like I said, reach out to me if there's any questions you might have. We did lose our maintenance department and our bus garage. All of our buses were inoperable. So I know someone mentioned that. If you'd like to reach out and talk about how we, moving forward, how we tried to coordinate with other districts and bus those kids in and do the things they had to do, then please reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate your wisdom, having recently been through this, and look for those 606 numbers, come in and take all of those. I want to turn to Lenny now, and he can tell some of his experience from Dawson Springs. And I also see that Rob Clayton has come on. Of course, Bowling Green and Warren County were heavily impacted by this as well. I was out actually volunteering, doing some work in some of Rob's schools that were used as staging centers for donations, and it is overwhelming the amount of stuff that is going to come in, all well intended, but it creates a problem that you have to manage all the donations. So Lenny, let's turn to you, and then Rob, if you're on, anything that you'd follow up on as well.
Sure. I think Joe hit a lot of the high points there. Jonathan, something you mentioned out of the gate, something that we noticed right away is we had a lot of people locally here that was directly impacted, and what they did pretty quickly was kind of relocate outside the tornado zone to friends and relatives and other folks that, in the surrounding counties and general area, just to find shelter, sleep on the couch, sleep in a spare bedroom, those kind of things. And we lost some of those people because of what you mentioned. They just go and life happens. But we've also got some that are coming back this year. So you'll lose some will be back, etc. The key point that we learned, and this has already been mentioned, you're going to get so many donations. You're going to get snowed under, literally. If you're not already, you're going to be quickly. And you'll need to make sure that you've got some plans with your local emergency management, your city folks, neighboring counties, because you're going to have to send stuff different places. And just having a plan for that is extremely important. You guys mentioned the shower houses and the toilets and the laundry facilities, all that. We had the portable ones come in. I can tell you, it generally took 3 to 5 days after the incident for folks to get in and kind of get things set up. But proximity is very key to that. And one of you guys had mentioned that, I believe, was talking about trying to get those shower houses and those laundry facilities closest to where the people are who were impacted, because some of them just will not leave. And we had some of that here. The next piece of that was temporary shelter. We saw a lot of campers and other things start to be pulled up in lots just to give people temporary shelter. And they're looking for places sometimes where they can use the restroom, shower, use those facilities. But proximity is a key point of that. Power and generators were big for us. It's one of those things, regardless of where you're at, you're going to need some kind of power to power whatever it is you're staying in, whether it's a camper, what have you. You're going to need a generator. You're going to need some kind of power, and you guys are well aware of that. Joe talked about the monetary donations and that type of thing. We ran all that through our Frisk, and we have a small group that's available, or that is responsible for designating where those funds go, who gets them, vetting those individuals who are making requests and things like that. I lost 20%. My staff I had 20% of my staff that lost everything they had. So I am familiar with the staff, needs and things like that. And I really worked hard to help everybody, but I also worked hard to try to do everything we could to get our staff what they needed just to be able to survive, temporary shelter, do anything that we could on our end to help. And at the end of the day, it's going to be important for you to get back in school, but the human element's the biggest piece of this. You got so many people that are hurting in your community, trying to make sure their immediate needs are met with, just some shelter and some food and some clothing and things like that is big. But I put my number up there on the chat board. Please call me or text me if you need me. Unfortunately, some of us just did some of this 6 months ago, and it wasn't fun, and it's difficult, but it is going to be a long haul, and you will be able to overcome it. It's just going to take a lot of time. So please contact me if you need me. Be more than happy to help you. One thing I will throw out that Joe didn't say is when you start to get information out about what your needs are, you probably want that to come from a centralized location, because we had multiple people, kind of speaking on behalf of the school unofficially. We need this, we need this, we need this, which, some of the things we were overrun on, and people were saying we need various things, but just making sure you got a centralized message and one person sending that out. That is something that I think is key as well. So, I'll do anything I can help, Commissioner. Any of our friends in Eastern Kentucky, you can bet Western Kentucky will be rallying to come to help and provide anything we can provide.
Thank you very much, Lenny. Appreciate you and Joe's perspective, having recently been through this. And one thing that we learned, a good idea from your communities is, to the last point that you made, posting on the district's website what stuff you need. We found that to be an effective practice, because people all over the country and in Kentucky are trying to help, but they don't always send the things that are needed at that time. Rob, I've seen you in the chat a couple of times. If you'd like to pop on and just share anything from your experience in Warren County.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Commissioner. Real quick, I concur with all the advice and lessons learned that Lenny and Joe have shared. There's two thoughts that come to mind. A lot of this is the communication piece and ensuring that you do have that central location in terms of who's communicating, because you will start to get items from all over the place. I would caution you on the supply piece. Be prepared any moment to remove that supply list and then turn it all into monetary donations. The long-term recovery piece will be a huge ask, and that monetary donation will go a long way in that. I will share that, and I put my number in the box as well. We did develop a process for how to disseminate funds. Just to give you an idea, real quick, you're going to be asked for rent monies. You're going to be asked for down payments on things. It really becomes pretty significant. And so having a small committee together that you're not a part of is very important. And then you can look at protocols for how to disseminate that. And again, we can give you a template. We had, I think, under $500, if I'm not mistaken. We gave a lot of autonomy, but then when we started to get above that, we had a little more leadership involved in that. My biggest fear, and this is sad to say, but my biggest fear almost immediately, once money started coming in, it shifted away from disaster recovery and so forth, and really into the only thing worse that could happen is if there becomes an allegation of mismanagement of funds. And when there was a time within the first 24 hours, I had a bag. They told me I had $40,000 worth of gift bags. I'm not making that up, or gift cards, I'm sorry. And so when I found that out immediately, okay, I don't want this. And so you're going to get hit with that. And again, I think that's the only negative that could come out of this is somehow the attention turns to your all's good deeds and one either sloppy process or a rogue employee or a rogue volunteer. But you will get these items will continue to come. If you stop that now, you'll still get them for the next 72 hours. So try to be kind of cognizant of those supplies and then get that message switched over to something monetary. I think would be a big benefit to you guys.
Thanks, Rob. And it really echoes the point that Joe made around having clear accounting practices and lots of transparency on donations and how they're handled. just to make sure that all of that's above board. And you made a good point in the chat, Rob, around requesting new items only. I was in one of your buildings, Rob, where you were receiving donations, and I can tell you every square inch of that building was piled floor to ceiling with donations, and I know that wasn't all of it. So it does become overwhelming. You know, the cafeteria was full, the gym was full, every square inch of classroom in that building was full, and it was a good-sized elementary school. So that's just one community. So you'll be overwhelmed with that soon enough. Let's switch back, and any of the superintendents from affected communities that didn't have a chance to sort of check in with us before, let's make sure we've heard from all of you.
Commissioners, William Sexton, Superintendent of Clay County Public Schools. I just want to say that I'm our little community's been hit, not hardly as hard as some of the others, but our thoughts and prayers are with all those. We've had several staff members to lose everything they've had, of course, and our children. No facilities really, a few minor leaks or something, but no, we've escaped all that. Our little community's been hit pretty hard in the Oneida area, and just pretty much cleaning supplies, totes, storage containers, something to put things in, and non-perishable foods is kind of what I'm hearing. We are just right now, I just got a phone call while we've been on here. FEMA's wanting to set up in our elementary school, so we're getting ready to get that set up, so they can have phone and the internet and everything there, so they can be able to help the community people, so they don't have to travel out 25 miles or 20 miles to Manchester to be able to put in those reports. So, but we just ask for your prayers, and hopefully we'll get everything put back together. Our roads and everything, conditions, they're all open, I think, now. I can't say enough about the electric company, the state, the workers in our local churches. They've put this on their back. Our employees here, myself, have been delivering water to some of these hardest hit communities that we can get to. And we've continued to do that. I've had a bunch of volunteers, my staff, and everybody willing to help and do anything that needs from them. But we appreciate your prayers.
Thank you, William. It sounds like similar situations happening in your community, so we're all thinking about Clay County and you as well. Other superintendents that may be on.
Commissioner, this is Gary Corn at Owsley County. Much like Wayne, I just got started about a month ago today. So, but the southern part of our county got hit pretty bad. Of course, that's the part that connects with Perry and Breathitt County. Fortunately, we didn't have any loss of life. Had several students and some families that lost homes and stuff. Our high school is currently, we've got about 150 to 200 rescue and recovery people from all over the United States that staying in our high school gym and our actual high school. The National Guard is mentioned, maybe used in our elementary school also, but obviously we'll use anything. I put the word out to Jonathan and Tim Wooten over in Buckhorn, and anything we can do for that area. We've been taking supplies over there. It's just 18 miles from school to school over there, and a lot of mutual friends between all these counties. So we want to do what we can. One thing I will say, I've been able to speak with these search and rescue people, and they talk about the resiliency of the people in Eastern Kentucky and how they're helping each other and willing to do this. And one of the guys was actually from Denver, Colorado, and he was talking how they was, up in an area of Perry County called Squabble Creek that goes up towards Owsley, and an older couple who was literally flooded out, cars washed, and the lady was yelling at them at the porch, trying to give them water and stuff while they're out searching, and they don't have running water and stuff themselves, but they're trying to bring them bottled water and stuff like that. So they're looking out for those people, but obviously, we'll do anything we can at Owsley County to help the transition go smoothly. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gary. And I know that you're just starting out as well, and so it's a heck of a baptism into the superintendency. We appreciate you. Any other affected communities that are on to check in? Okay, not hearing any others. Let's switch. I want to bring Robin Kinney on, and Tony, if you could bring back up our agenda. We just have a few things that we want to cover with you from KDE's perspective. I know that it's a lot of information and all of you are just dealing with moment by moment. So please don't think that you have to keep track of all this. We'll be sure to follow up with communications in email to you. We really, I think, are fortunate that the KETS network has stood up and really been a resource in community. So when you're able to get to it, but we will follow up with these things. But let's talk around these updates from KDE around funding, school operations, equipment rentals. Robin, are you on and are able to walk through us through those first few items?
I am on, Commissioner. I did notice that Superintendent Combs is trying to unmute so she can share with us. So
let me see if I can go in there and try to unmute.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we'll wait for Sandra if we're able to get her.
It's showing that she is, yeah, it's not on our end. So I don't know if she wants to maybe exit and try to come back in, because it's showing that she is speaking. We're just not hearing anything from her.
Okay, we'll make sure that we hear from Sandra and Hazard. But Robin, why don't you go ahead for now?
Yeah, and another suggestion to Superintendent Combs, if you come back in, there should be a number that you could also call in. So you might be able to reach us just by telephone, because we would be, we do want to hear from you. Well, first of all, thank you for all the superintendents and our guests that are on the webcast today. We know this is a really, really busy time for you. And so just taking out enough time to share with us, and also to share with each other, most importantly, because we found, like in Western Kentucky, that many of the great ideas that come forward come from you sharing with each other. But we want you to know that we are here to assist, and we'll be available as we roll along. I know you have lots of things on your mind, and we're not going to spend today kind of overwhelming you with all the things that are available. Most importantly right now, and I think Superintendent Lenny Whalen said it best, it's time to take care of the human element right now. And you're in a disaster relief capacity right now. You're servicing in that function. You will slowly get back to wearing that sole superintendent cap in the future. And when that happens, we'll be here to assist you with all the needs. But as far as your calendars, I heard lots of people talking about pushing dates back. Of course, that's absolutely fine. If you go past and amend your calendar to go after August 29th. We call that the boat dock bill, or alternative calendar. And you can just focus on those hours rather than those days. So just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that after August 29th. We have made available through the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, and I was so happy to hear that they have already been on site at Buckhorn to help with the parking lot and debris removal. But we've shared that in case you need some heavy equipment assistance. If you can't find that quickly, if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to resend that to anyone that hasn't seen those 4 contracts that were made available by the Transportation Cabinet. Depending on how long it takes you to get re-engaged, and I hear lots of different things from different communities, but if you get to a point where you're still having trouble to start school and you run into questions about my classified staff and my certified staff and how this impacts their contracts and how they're going to get paid and all that, we did work through that with our Western Kentucky districts as well. And that would require some legislative relief, but we will certainly, like we did with Western Kentucky, kind of keep this ongoing legislative needs request list, so that if we get into a point that we do have to engage the General Assembly on certain things, and we likely will, we'll have that running list, and we can advocate on behalf of all the districts for that relief to be used to the degree that you need it. The transportation situation, I heard some people that are without transport at this point in time, or you don't have roads. So again, when you get to the point that you feel like you can either engage sister districts to help you with transport of students back to schools that are operational, we did that with help with the Western Kentucky districts on that. and help to develop those relationships with you to reimburse those districts that are assisting you. So we'll be able to help in that regard as well. Remote learning. I didn't hear a lot of people talking about that, and obviously we all like to have in-person learning. That's the best way to do it. But if anyone has any needs for flexibility on remote learning in some way, shape, or form, think back to like when we're in the pandemic and we had to, you know, operate a lot of things either by school or something like that, a little more remotely. We would be interested in hearing that from you. There might be some flexibility that we could get to. We don't have that right now. But if you have a school that needs to have remote learning, we understand this is a little different than when we were in the pandemic, when people had homes that they were sheltering in. And in many cases, you don't have that. But if we could help one school or one place in one of your communities, and that would be beneficial to you, if you could please reach out and let us know, and we'll work on that for you as well. Also for funding, and I'm just kind of going all over the place because I heard so many things from each of you districts. Remember, for this school year, you are being funded. Again, we're still frozen from the coronavirus pandemic. You are being funded for SEEK purposes under the 1819 or 1920 data. However, so this year your money will come. However, for next year, this is the first year that we're going back to ADA and collecting on ADA. So we anticipate that some districts may need some relief from that as well. And we'll have to work with the General Assembly to secure that for you. So that's why it's important that we stay in touch with you on when you're starting school and you know what that looks like. But we will certainly advocate on your behalf if we get into a situation that's going to impact your funding for the next school year. You heard the superintendents from Western Kentucky really talking about that a lot, that it is a long journey for you. The resiliency that you've already shown so far is so commendable, and but it will kind of drain you. So please take care of yourselves, take care of your own families, and as you try to take care of everyone else that's in your charge. Commissioner, are there other things, I guess, as far as school and community nutrition as well? We know that many of you all have set up either feeding sites for your community. We have started receiving some questions from your food service directors into our school and community nutrition division. Please reach out to us with questions on that. A lot of people trying to make sure that they understand what processes they need to follow if they're using their own inventory to help feed, so that you can get reimbursed either from FEMA or your insurance or somewhere else. So we're happy to assist with those conversations as well. Let me pause there. I've tried to give a lot in a short amount of time just because I'm trying to be sensitive to the other important things that you need to do.
Robin, I had to step out for just a moment. Did you cover the equipment rentals from KYTC?
I did.
Great. Okay, thank you. And is there a point of contact that superintendent should be using as a sort of central point right now?
Yes, so on behalf of the department, we've assigned Robin Morley, and I'll put her email information in the chat. Robin works in the Office of Finance and Operations underneath in my office, and we're going to use her as sort of a, if you need to call someone here to help, if you'll use her as your first point of contact, and then she will shepherd to the right place to get you assistance from whether that's school and community nutrition, technology, finance and operations, any of our offices across. And thank you, Robin. She's just put her own information there in the chat box so you can find it.
Great. Thanks, Robin. And thanks, Robin Morley. Robin found out this morning that her job title had been adjusted to concierge for supporting flood impacted districts. So we know that Robin Morley is incredibly capable person, so please reach out to her if there are any needs that you have, and she'll work with you to make sure that it gets routed to the right people at KDE and that you get a timely response back. So Robin, Kenny, I think that you've covered the items that you had. Anything else to add right now?
No, I don't think so, unless we have questions.
Okay. Yeah, we'll pause and see if there are any questions for Rob and Kenny. Otherwise, we just have a couple more items to touch base with you on, and then we'll turn to next steps. Any questions for Robin?
I have a question about feeding. If we are delayed for an extensive amount of time, I know, would we be able to continue to do the feeding like we had this summer, or we can go directly to the homes and things like that?
I don't know if Lauren Moore, are you on the call with us today?
I am here. John, what you can do, just reach out to the Summer Food Service Program. Actually, reach out to Robin Morley and she'll send it to us. But there are a lot of flexibility still in place because of the pandemic. So you can extend Summer Food Service Program if you need to. Just reach out to us and we will explain to your food service director what they need to do that.
Okay, because we actually have like World Central Kitchen is in Perry County right now, and they're providing lunch and dinner, but we're still providing breakfast. So I was just wanting to make sure once they leave, if we could continue to do that. But I'll have my food service director reach out. Okay.
Yes, we can certainly help with that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Any other questions for Robin? Okay, thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
We have received some requests for photographs, and so Tony, can you come on and talk about that quickly?
Yeah, just as a reminder, many of y'all are doing a great job on this, but we've received some requests from the governor's office and from others just to remember to take a lot of like before and after photos. This is going to help you all with your just, I guess, getting reimbursements and things like that. And then also, you know, we're going to keep track of that from a storytelling perspective as well, with a lot of just the great efforts from all of our districts helping you all. So just try to continue to do that. And you all have my email. You certainly know how to get in touch with me, and let us know how we can be of assistance in helping you get those stories out.
Thanks, Tony. Let's check in. We have Brian Perry on. There's a resource that's recently come available to us from Serve Kentucky around AmeriCorps volunteers. Brian, could you just quickly update folks on what that is, and also that we'll follow up with email on that if they want to take advantage of it?
Sure. So Serve Kentucky is the state service commission, and they coordinate all of the AmeriCorps programs throughout the state. So they've been in touch with, I think, both our state AmeriCorps programs as well as the NCCC programs, which are the national residential programs. So it sounds like that they're working on bringing in some NCCC teams, but then there'll also be opportunities for you all, if you all want volunteers, I think, to work with Serve Kentucky to get AmeriCorps members. They mentioned specifically that schools would probably be a great site for them to serve at and to help clean up and that sort of thing. So there'll be more resources coming on that. Again, feel free to reach out to Robin Morley if this is something you're interested in, and she can help connect all of us, and we can direct those resources to you all. If we get more information, or as we get more information from them, we will be sure to email that out to you all.
Thanks, Brian. So I want to pause for just a second. We did invite Kentucky Emergency Management on to talk about some of the resources they may have or that may be coming through FEMA. I'm not sure if they, and we asked for support from the U.S. Department of Education. We weren't able to confirm them. Is there anyone on from U.S. DOE or from Kentucky Emergency Management? If not, we'll make sure that we get them on the next meeting that we have.
This is Stephanie Roby with Kentucky Emergency Management.
Thanks, Stephanie. Go right ahead.
Sure, thanks. A lot of you have never perhaps used FEMA assistance before, but let me assure you that all the school districts will be eligible for FEMA assistance. Too often we have schools say, oh, it's too much trouble, I have insurance coverage, we'll be fine. FEMA will not pay for things that your insurance company is going to cover. However, they will pick up your deductible. And there are a lot of things that you have had damage that perhaps are not going to be covered under your insurance, like football fields, baseball fields, those sorts of things. So be sure that once you receive a message from us saying that you can apply, that you go ahead and apply. As was mentioned earlier, it's a complex program. There's no doubt about it. And it's imperative that you are keeping track of all of your efforts. What are you spending things on, maintaining invoices? Be sure that you are documenting all of the volunteer resources that you are receiving, because as with most federal programs, there is a match required to the funding that you receive. However, the value of volunteer hours, volunteer donated resources, equipment, those sorts of things, the value of that will count towards your match. So it's very important that you do that. You'll also need to identify someone in your organization who will serve as what we call an applicant agent. And that's your liaison with FEMA and the state. The state is going to help you in any way that you find necessary. If we need to send someone to your district and sit with your applicant agent and assist them with completing applications and identifying damages and submitting damage inventories, we certainly can do that. One of the speakers previously talked about the fact that they had used a contractor to step them through this FEMA process. I'm not going to also advocate one way or the other, but I will let you know that Kentucky Emergency Management has numerous MOAs already in the state system for contractors that we have vetted, and they are available. You can tap into those existing MOAs if you're interested. Also, let me reiterate, volunteers are everywhere. Donations will be coming in, and that can be a disaster after the disaster if things are not properly managed. We have a person on staff here whose sole job is to coordinate volunteer activities. If you need assistance with managing the donations that are going to be coming into your districts, just reach out to us, and we will be glad to send support to you who have experience in donation management. We also have entities that have reached out to us. They are skilled volunteer organizations who have a wealth of experience. They can assist you with cleaning. They can assist you with ripping out drywall or whatever might be a burden for you right now. They have even said they will go and clean houses of your staff so that they can focus on helping you. If we need to send people to help your teachers or your support staff, we'll be glad to do that. To receive this assistance, I would like for you to call Jim Garrett, Garrett. His phone number is area code 502-607-5742. And again, we will be reaching out to you and letting you know when you can apply. FEMA has the declarations in place, but right now, the only thing that has been turned on is emergency response activities. So we need to wait until they have expanded the declaration to include restoration. So as soon as that happens, you'll get a message from us. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that information. We may want to have you or someone from emergency management back on just as this continues to unfold and develop, but we appreciate you being on with us today. I want to circle back and thank you. We have Sandra on. Sandra, tell us about what's happening in Hazard.
Can you hear me now?
We can, go right ahead.
Oh, okay. First of all, I'd like to say and echo that It has been a great community outreach. Jonathan Jett, he has answered my phone calls. He's been at this a little bit longer than I have. So I appreciate him. We all work closely together in Eastern Kentucky. I consider all of us family, and we just work hard at that. We are very fortunate. All three of our schools were really small. They were just barely impacted. Our custodians could take care of the water that came in their cafeterias. We do have the Red Cross shelter set up in our elementary gym, housing it can house up to 40. So people are coming and going as their families find them. They come and pick them up. It's in a separate building from our elementary school, which works out well. We are so small that we have our staff, who we are very fortunate that are all doing well. We have one teacher stranded in a holler. I think 40 feet of her road is now gone. So they're walking water into her and food. But other than that, we're contacting each individual family and seeing if they're okay, if they need anything, and then seeing if at all possible, we are going to try to open school on August the 11th. Our transportation director and myself have been working with Judge Alexander and Happy Mobilini, our mayor, and we're checking our roads completely to make sure, and we're making arrangements for students to walk out if we cannot get to them. So we're going to try to start the 11th. We're still in the process of contacting each family and trying to take care of their personal and needs, food, water, clothing, anything they need. We don't have a lot of water damage. We have a lot of mudslide damage. And the problem with that is, even though our schools have water, some of the homes do not, but we're going to try to help them out. We can all shovel mud. So just keep us in our prayers. We do have room in our enrollment. If you have kids that need to go to school, we're going to try to do that. So just reach out. Also, I would like to thank Western Kentucky. They've already sent several loads to our school and gave us some really good advice, and we really appreciate them. They were really quick on responding and bringing bus loads full, so we appreciate them. And surrounding superintendents, thanks for all your encouragement. But we just have a great community. And I can't say enough about how quickly they respond and try to get out there and help everyone. But if any changes with the beginning of school happen as we are calling everyone, I will reach out to the commissioner and let him know what we're doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. It's heartening to hear the community coming together, and having lived there in Hazard, I can tell you that firsthand, this Bulldogs versus Commodores thing is a real thing. And so the fact that y'all have been able to pull together really shows the strength of the community, and both of you tremendous leaders. So thank you. I think, we've run over on our time now. I think it was really important for us just to hear from everyone and at least get on your radar some of the initial information that we had available. I think we should go ahead and schedule one of these for next week. If it's like the Western Kentucky impacted communities that we had, we kept this going for about 2 months. And then at the end of that, we sort of felt like the initial need to come together like this had passed, and we stopped the meetings. But I would suggest that we continue this on a weekly basis, and we'll try to keep them short, just to 30 minutes as a check-in. You've got Robin Morley's contact information as a next step. We probably will want to talk about if there's going to be a special session of some kind, what would be some things that you'd want to advocate for some relief or support from the General Assembly. If there are changes to the regulatory structure that you need, we can do some of that through the Kentucky Board of Education. They're certainly open and willing to make changes, but we'll need to talk through exactly what changes you'll need. Again, all that's a little further down the line, I think, than the initial challenges that you're managing right now. But unless there are any objections, we'll go ahead and reach out and set up this meeting for next week, and we'll do our best to keep the time short. But I know we have just a lot of information to process through right now. Any other points that need to be raised before we cut you loose? I know that you've all got a lot to do.
Commissioner, just a reminder that we do have our regularly scheduled superintendent's webcast next Tuesday as well. So that should also be on their calendars.
Great. So we'll make sure we have a portion of that for all the superintendents in the state to hear about some of the resources or things that you might need. It'll be an opportunity for some of you to come on and talk about some of the supports that you need. We saw during the tornadoes, districts from across the state that mobilized supplies and sent those to Western Kentucky. We may need buses coming the other direction this time. And again, we've got more school impacts in Eastern Kentucky than we did during the tornadoes. So there may be more immediate losses and supports that you will need as school systems. Anyone else need to come on and just any final words before we conclude, and we'll work towards scheduling that huddle for next week.
Dr. Glass, this is Kay Dixon, SESC Cooperative, and the co-op directors and I, we've all been texting back and forth. We want to provide as much support for all of you as our hearts go out to all of you for the losses of homes and lives in your communities, but we don't want to flood you with things you can't use or you're not ready for. So we're trying to be a little cautionary in those things. If there was some way of combining a list of your drop-off locations and also what your greatest needs are. I don't know how we could get you. I know you're overwhelmed and very busy, but someone suggested the website. But if you will reach out to us, we will coordinate those things through our co-ops, which will make less people that you're having probably to communicate with. Just any kind of system that you could recommend so that we're sending the things you need and have room for at this time. I know we talked about all of the stuff that was left over and hard to find a place for in Western Kentucky. So who has a suggestion about how maybe we could help with that or kind of have a process for knowing what the greatest needs are at this time?
Hey, I wonder if maybe the staff at your co-op or one of the other co-ops could organize an information outreach, maybe set up a Google form or just some information or a website where superintendents could put in the information on what they are needing. That might be a way to do it. But I think if you and the co-ops could organize that outreach in some way of collecting that information and then just make sure that you've heard from all of the affected communities, that would be a good way to go about it.
Okay, so we'll do that here at our co-op and we'll channel it through the other co-op. So in regards to the email communication, it'll come from someone at SESC for the superintendents. And if you have someone who can spend a little time getting those things together for us, we'll combine that just so we're meeting your needs at the moment and not overwhelming you with things that you have nowhere to put.
Thanks so much, Kay. Appreciate you and the co-op stepping up to support. Any other final comments before we conclude?
Commissioner Glass, I'll just jump in real quickly on behalf of KVEC and just superintendents know that we're here and we're not going away and we are looking for the long haul. And you know that KVEC's a small organization, but we'll do the very best we can. You know, our staff has been hit hard too, just like you. All are from the Kentucky River watershed, and so we're trying to recover as well, but we're already looking for the long term, and please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thank you, Johnny. Okay, hearing no other comments, we'll go ahead and conclude this call. Look for follow-up for one of these again next week. We hope to have some more clarity and information for you. Please feel free to reach out to Robin Morley as that contact person at Kde. It's really, Robin is incredible, very organized person, and so she'll be a great asset to all of you just in helping you connect with the resources and support you need. Stay safe, everyone. Best wishes in these initial steps in cleaning up your community. Our hearts are with you. More importantly, we're going to put our resources and sweat and effort into this as well. We look forward to connecting with you next week. Thank you.